Good afternoon. I'm Randy Lemke. I'm the Executive Director of Infocomm, and for the Board of Governors of Infocomm International, I want to welcome you to the Manufacturers Forum. I do get the honor of introducing Gary Kay, and Gary Kay has now moderated this panel, I think, for 4 years, I think running 3 to 4 years, and Gary brings both his insight into the industry as well as his ability to ask a question or two that might be a little tough and that you're all sitting out there wanting to ask, but you don't. Well, Gary has no fear.
As Randy said, I think you all know who I am and are here, hopefully, to hear from them. So we'll jump right in it. And we obviously have some distinguished panelists here today, and I'm going to ask each one of them to introduce themselves in a moment. But before we do that, obviously, if you look at the positions that they all hold at their respective companies, we have the movers and shakers of the industry here in many ways. If not the leaders of each one of their given fields, certainly among the leaders of their given fields. Oh, lost the microphone. We also have certainly two of the major companies that kind of glue the industry together, and have both of them here at the same time on the same panel, I think is going to be an exciting afternoon. Second, George.
Hi, my name is George Feldstein, and I'm the president of Crestron Electronics. Gary asked me to tell you what I do at Crestron Electronics, and it took me some time to think about this, so let me answer it this way. Since I was 8 years old, I've been making things in my basement. And just recently, my basement got a whole lot bigger. We've completed and are occupying a 100,000 square foot research center. This center is filled with hundreds of engineers with the same passion I have for this industry and developing new products and technologies. My office has been moved into the building. That's where my office is, and that's what I do at Crestron. Okay. Now, what concerns Crestron? Crestron is concerned with the growth of this industry. We look every day at the challenges of this industry and what will affect our business. We see one of the effects of our business and our distribution network is the IT industry. In many very large companies, what used to be AV functions have been turned over to the IT department. All right. This is a whole different supply chain, a whole different method of installation, and creates a difficulty for the AV dealer. Crestron would encourage all our AV dealers to embrace total technology solutions, from digital and analog distribution to environmental control, to streaming media, every aspect that they can be involved in, the total technology of their customers will grow the industry. Crestron will help this through training, bringing those kinds of products and technologies to this industry that will help our dealers grow, through customer support in any way we can to help grow the industry, because only through the growth of this industry will we all have jobs in the future.
Oh, well, thanks. That was actually under 3 minutes. George, you sure you don't want to talk a little bit more?
What?
Did that in under 3 minutes. That was great. Thank you. Andrew.
Can I talk more?
I'd kind of like to hear George's response to it, because the model has not been duplicated, or none of the other manufacturers have stepped up to the plate to eliminate box transactional dealers like that.
You want to hear my response? Is that what you said?
I'm sorry?
You called me, right?
Yes.
Okay. I admire Andrew because Andrew's model will improve his bottom line profitability. It's my understanding that Andrew, from what Andrew just said, it's easier to support people who don't need support, support is the name of Crestron. We've invested millions of dollars in support. We have a very, very technical product. What we say is, when you buy our product, it doesn't work. You need our support. However, if I'm to be true to my creed of growing this industry, I have to take the position that if you're a legitimate dealer, and I'm not and you can't sell our products through the internet, that just doesn't work. But if you're a legitimate dealer, independent of the size of your engineering department or the size of your company, if you're legitimate and trying to earn a living, then we have to support you, and we have to support you the best we can. Now, that's the way I feel. But I respect Andrew's view on that, and maybe he's right and I'm wrong, but that's certainly not our model. We will help the 3-man dealership, and we will help the 500-man dealership. We will help support our products and grow this industry and make our dealers successful.
All right. Does anybody else want to comment on that at all? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, Harmon, do y'all have because you have a pretty complicated distribution structure on your own.
But if you're primarily box goodsing, you can call yourself an integrator, but we've seen a lot that are calling themselves integrators that are not really integrators.
Can I add one thing to that?
Sure.
You're right, Andrew. That dealer you dropped is now a very big dealer of ours, which we do, off the top of my head, a couple of $1 million a year business with. But the difference is, and they did require a lot of support. So you're right. You know, by your philosophy, you were right in what you did. So I admire you for being true to your philosophy. But what we did is we went in with a staff of people. We trained them. We educated them. They hired their own engineers. And now there's minimum support for them. So do you want them back?
No, I really don't, George.
All right, then everyone's happy.
I want you to keep them.
We have to get involved in internet and Ethernet. I said it at the beginning of my speech. This has not happened. It's in part our industry's fault. If you look at the training courses, how many courses are available to teach our dealers how to set up an IP address? If there's a sophisticated solution like the Tamberg solution, it will be done by the IT department, not the AV department. In order for us to grow, we must embrace these technologies. We must get the dealers trained. Andrew has Ethernet and Internet products. Our company is substantially based on that now. It's something the industry has to do literally to survive. So I encourage the people who put these training programs together. We've been involved in some of them. Andrew's been involved in some of them. It's something we must do.
Adagio, for example, is a product that's primarily aimed at the home market, the high-end home market. It serves up content in a way. Right now, audio and eventually video. You got AMX's Max product. You've now got Apple TV that's in the home product, which serves up video. And you have all these download services. And so you've taken this box and where it used to be a lot of little boxes that were sources in the home. When are we going to see that on the pro side? And are we even capable of doing that? Do we even have, based on your comment about the network, do we even have the infrastructure for it? And when are we going to get blindsided by it?
Okay, Gary, that's a very good question. And the reason why it's a very good question, because probably over 2 years ago, Crestron, who's probably the leader certainly was the first ones to institute practical Cat5 distribution of audio and video. And in the home market, it's Crestron who is the only one who does that, really. We said, where's the future going? It takes 2 years to develop a product, minimum. If it's complex, it takes 3 years to develop it. So we were looking for the grand unifying theory of distribution, the total integration of streaming media, analog, digital, compressed digital, with the overlay of a factor that's going to become dominant on lives called content protection. Yes, folks, the lawyers are in our industry, and it's called content protection. If I want to come up with a system that may distribute a PowerPoint as well as a Blu-ray or an HD disc, I have to deal with content protection. And it has to be integrated. One of the things that content protection and the related HDMI does not lend itself to long-distance transmission. Crestron has solutions to these difficulties. Our technology, when discussed with Microsoft, allowed us to become a certified gold partner with Microsoft. And at this present time, Microsoft engineers and Crestron engineers are further developing these kinds of technologies, which you'll be seeing in the near future. Some of that technology, which is the total integration of content protection, analog, and digital media, you can see in the form at our booth in our digital video processor high definition, DVP-HD. That's just the tip of the iceberg. I wish I could have brought more to the show because it's where the industry's heading, but it is based on knowledge of the networks, network technology, and probably we couldn't have done it without a partner on the engineering level like Microsoft to help us. So, second to your question, yes, Crestron is working on a commercial version of the Adagio system. And at Nest Infocomm, you'll see that kind of thing shown here for the commercial environment, which is a total integration of video, high-definition audio. There is such a thing as high-definition audio. Both analog and digital and compressed media. So this is where our industry is going. We hope to be a leader in that direction. And again, with the underlying position, we have to grow our industry, we have to grow our dealers, we have to put our dealers in a position to go into an end user and say, we have what you need to go into the future.
Okay. And so do you eventually, I mean, George, Andrew, do you guys eventually see the consolidation of all these sources into one big server? Is it going to be multiple servers? Are they going to be residing, are they going to be virtual servers? Will they be physical boxes? I mean, where do you kind of see the vision for this? Or do you really not have an idea?
Right now, as we speak, there's a company who owns several caves in mountains where their servers are located. This company is Google. Google has in position the ability to serve up every piece of anything that was ever recorded on media. All right. Looking forward in the future, they're independent of archival stuff. If you create a video image, you will send it to Google. I'm just using that name as an example. To Google, and they will archive it for you. And then anytime, any place, you could retrieve that image of audio or content and show it anywhere you want. And probably in the long term, they will take care of the content protection issues also. So looking 10 years from now, it is a cave in the mountain somewhere. We won't be told where it is. It'll be on the armed guard. And all the media in the world will be there. People have been talking about this for years. Why do you need a hard drive? If the bandwidth of the internet is fast enough, we can put everything in central storage and access it by everyone. At our company, in our engineering department, with several hundred engineers, they can all share designs and information, specifications over a central server. They all have access to the information. They don't have drawings and blueprints on their individual PCs. So that's a microcosm of where we're heading.
Are those Windows-based servers?
What? What was that, Gary?
Are those Windows-based servers?
I'll give you the code.
Because if they are, I'm not that worried.
You just got to find those mountains. One of the limitations, which is a physical limitation, is bandwidth. Right now, even high-def video and Jerry's projectors have a bandwidth much higher than the capability of that can be provided over Internet and even Ethernet. So the bandwidth is the limitation. There's two ways to overcome the bandwidth issue. One is compression, MPEG formats. They tend to throw out data. The other way the industry is dealing is with this HDMI. The HDMI has very high bandwidth. They're talking about 36 bits of color, which means I don't know how many tens of thousands of shades of resolution of each color. I'm colorblind, so it doesn't matter to me.
That explains it.
I'm always serious. You know that. If there wasn't this bandwidth limitation, the projector manufacturers would probably take over the world, because then they can stream everything directly into their projectors and show it. The fact of this bandwidth discontinuity creates all sorts of businesses on its own to try to match it up. HDMI is the way the video industry is trying to get around this. HDMI distribution is one of the problems that we've been solving over the last 2 years. How do you get transmission over long distances at a bandwidth that wasn't designed, and a vehicle that wasn't designed for that purpose? As a matter of fact, that was only designed for 10 feet or something. The content industry has designed a system that wants to go directly from a port on your player, directly to a port on your plasma or LCD or projector. They don't want guys like Andrew and myself messing with it in between. That's the challenge that we've been working on. That's the solution. Hopefully we will be delivering to Infocomm next year at this time.
Anybody else want to comment on that?
Keep working on it, George.
You'll be the first to know, Andrew.